Hello everyone, today we're taking a look at HDZero's very first radio on the market. And this radio seems to be designed around being compact and packable, and it does come with its own carrying case as displayed here. But not only the carrying case, but the stick ends, they come out and they store right in the back. They screw in so they shouldn't pop out like those other designs. And this is the least expensive radio to come on the market that has a screen, no additional cost. You don't have to buy batteries because it's built right in, and that battery boasts a usage time of 10 hours. I can't say whether that's 100% accurate or not. Quickly go around the horn. We have momentary switches here, and 3-position toggle switches right up here. These are your trim buttons for 4-way adjustment, our lanyard, our power button. This is how we drive and select the menu. This is a binding button. This is your buddy box or trainer mode, and this is your USB-C port, both for charging, which the light goes from red when you're charging to green when you're done charging, as well as for FPV simulator purposes, plugging into your computer. Pretty straightforward, right? We got the gimbals right here on the menu, and this does not run EdgeTX. They have boiled this down into much more simple, and we will dive into the menu and give kind of an overview here. If we sit here for a few seconds, we will see the screen dim. That's one of the power saving features that are built in. Of course, as we move the sticks, we can see our movement around. We can see our battery level up here at the top with a voltage display by it. We can also see our signal, but I've got nothing connected. If we go to the right, we can see all of our channels that are set up on the radio. And we then go one more to the right and we can see where we have our menu. And to go to the next menu, we go up or down on the button. So calibration is next on our list. We have the battery and the calibration in there. We've got the startup check. So if you get a warning that your throttle is out of position, or you want the warning to be with your throttle out of position, you do have that option. We've of course got timers that we can select. We have the trainer mode or DSC mode, as well as firmware update. And then we have to reset settings. If we go into the firmware, mine is still on version 1.0.0. I have attempted to update this a number of times, but I seem to have some sort of issue on my computer where it gets started and it seems to go to somewhere between 30 to 70%, and then it just stalls out. Here we can go into programming the transmitter, or we can program the backpack functions. We dive deeper into the channel map. You can see here how it's got everything set up for each individual channel and the directions that we have for each one of these. You can add or subtract these at will. I'm sure Ryan Quillett, the HDZero representative, has already got a tutorial on many of these things ready to go, so I am not going to cover them real deep because, you know, this is a budget radio. This is for FPV starters, and if it's not a starter, you've probably already got a pretty good idea how this probably all works because you've been using much more complicated operating systems like EdgeTX and OpenTX. This is our stick calibration, which I don't feel a need to do because I think it's pretty accurate as so far, but if you were to drop it or otherwise feel it needs calibration, it is here for you. Our battery, you can see where it shows our voltage, our warning voltage, and our warning type. Warning type meaning a beep and a little vibration mechanism, much like our cell phones. Previously mentioned startup check. You can set any of the channels to have any startup check that you would like. Timers, you can enable the timer. You can set it to 1 minute. You can set an action with it. An alarm type. Trainer mode, that would be if you were to have another radio plugged in, of course. And we've already dove into the firmware reset settings. That is the entire menu. As far as how the gimbals feel, these are nano gimbals. So some people are less comfortable with those because they have a shorter throw distance versus a much larger gimbal. But these gimbals, they're this size at the very least, is pretty typical on our budget radios, as well as those radios that are made for backpacking or just throwing in your pack for otherwise robustness. The buttons in my case, I have found them to be fine. These are a little foreign to me, even though I continue to see these on radios that I do test and review on the channel. I am much more comfortable with the longer stick ends because that's what I started with for many, many years. And it's quicker for me because I like to be able to quickly access things. aux1 is set for this channel right here, but you can go into the channel map and change that if you'd like to where you can use any of the buttons per channel, or maybe you want to have a pre-arm on yours as well. As far as the textures and features, you know, it's a small radio, and as you can see here in the stick cam, I am a pincher or hybrid pincher, and I just kind of cup the radio in my palms with my pinky and my index finger. I think if you're a thumber, which I started out as a thumber, but I haven't flown thumbs in a while, this would be pretty comfortable. I did notice that on the center points on the sticks, that with these types of gimbals, kind of all of them in this product line, not just with HDZero, but all in the budget radios, that center point, which I fly around a lot, especially when I'm flying inside, is a little bit heavier than I find on much more premium gimbals. But that is to be expected to some degree. Also, the USB port here at the bottom, you can use that for flight simulators. I did test it with Uncrashed as well as Velocidrone, and my super old now copy of TinyWhoop Go seemed to work normally, although I'm not a very good FPV simulator. Around back, there's really nothing to show other than the screw points as well as where you hide the gimbals. The case that it does come with, it's got a zipper, one zipper. Well, I guess two zippers if you count this pocket, and inside the pocket you can see we do get an HDZero lanyard as well as a USB cable, and then the radio goes right down here with this little Velcro closing. That's really it. The compelling features, at least in my mind for most people, is going to be the price point at somewhere around $50, depending upon whether you buy it globally, outside the US, or within the US. But it'll be within that $50 range is what I have been told. The durability that it should have, because it doesn't use the long switches that we may have seen in years past, as well as the sticks being able to be mounted in the back and inside the hard case if you choose to use it. But it has the screen, which makes Express LRS, as well as the boiled down version of the HDZero firmware that this runs, that we went through. It eliminates a lot of the features that you might, one, mess up on accident, or two, just get confused because there's so much. So if you have that frustration with EdgeTX or OpenTX, or just in general of using Express LRS, the radio inside pretty much everything we use anymore in FPV, and the configuration of the radio itself, this might be a radio that you enjoy if you're finding yourself in those situations. If you do have any comments, questions, suggestions, or otherwise, please let me know in the comment section below. I appreciate your time, and thanks for watching.